everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today is all about the new product from E.L.F. This is called the Halo Glow Liquid Filter. And I was curious about this because you guys know that one of my favorite brands is Charlotte Tilbury, and one of my favorite products from Charlotte Tilbury is the Hollywood Flawless Filter. I have been wearing this for several years now. I've had it in multiple shades, and it's one of those products that I never go without. So if I run out, I always have to reorder and get a new one, or make sure I got one in backup, because if they sell out, sometimes it takes a long time for them to come back into stock. So this has just been a ride or die product of mine. And when I saw that E.L.F. was launching something similar to it, I knew I had to get my hands on it. And E.L.F. is one of those brands for me that, even though I love luxury makeup, it's kind of what my channel is all about, is luxury makeup. E.L.F. has been one of those brands that I've always really enjoyed. They've always done a really good job with a lot of their releases. I actually have two shades here in this product, and I will be doing tons of swatches of these two shades next to other brands that I have that are similar to this product. I bought shade 4 and shade 5. So shade 4 is for medium skin, and then shade 5 is medium tan. So those are the two shades that I will be playing with and swatching in today's video. Now, the Charlotte Tilbury retails for $44. So it is a significant price difference between the two. And to me, I'm always on the hunt for those really good dupes, right? Where you can spend your money elsewhere and save on other places. So we're gonna find out in this video if this new product from E.L.F., in my opinion, is a dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter, which happens to be one of my favorite products. So in today's video, I'm gonna be applying one on one side and one on the other. The Hollywood Flawless Filter is one of those products that I like to put all over the skin and kind of give me some color, especially in the summer, because I don't tan my face. I wear sunscreen, and I also, if I'm out in the sun all day, I will definitely wear a hat just to keep the sun off my face. So my face is always much lighter than the rest of my body. With the Hollywood Flawless Filter, what I like about it and what I use it for is to give me some color to the skin. And I typically wear shade 5 or 5.5 from Charlotte Tilbury. This is 5.5. I just ran out of 5. I wish I had it for this video, but I literally skimmed that bottle like gone. So I will be comparing shade 4 and 5 from E.L.F. with shade 4.5 and shade 5.5 from Charlotte Tilbury. The way that I wanted to test this product is testing it side by side and using it the way I use the Hollywood Flawless Filter. So right now I'm wearing Charlotte Tilbury on one side and E.L.F. on the other. And I'm really curious, which side do you believe is the Charlotte Tilbury? Either my left side or my right side? I'm really curious to see which side you guys believe is the Hollywood Flawless Filter or the E.L.F. Before we go on, comment down below and guess which side is the Charlotte Tilbury or the E.L.F. I'm so curious to hear which side you guys think, and if you guys can tell a difference. Can you tell a difference between the two sides? I'm very curious to hear. So that's what we're gonna do in today's video. Let's go ahead and jump into the application, and then we will get into the swatches and comparisons, and then I will jump into my final thoughts. So I will see you guys then. Like I mentioned in the intro, I have shade 4, which is medium, and I have shade 5, which is medium tan. The packaging is the exact same. You have a big doe foot here, just like with the Charlotte Tilbury. So the E.L.F. is a little bigger. So this is the E.L.F., this is the Charlotte Tilbury. So you can see, if it will focus on it, you can see that the E.L.F. is much bigger than the Charlotte Tilbury, and more comes off on the tip than the one from Charlotte Tilbury. So let's see what these shades look like. So this one is shade 5, and this is shade 5.5 from Charlotte Tilbury. Those two shades are pretty dang close. I mean, they are very close. I would say the only slightest difference that I can see between the two, this is E.L.F., this is Charlotte Tilbury. I'm going to put a little bit more of the Charlotte Tilbury on because more comes off on the applicator from the E.L.F. If I tip my hand that way, the one from E.L.F. is a tad bit darker in the shade 5. And it seems like the Charlotte Tilbury is a little bit more on the beige side. It has a little bit of a beige tint to it. So that's shade 4 from E.L.F. And then let's put shade 4.5 right here from Charlotte Tilbury. I'll do better swatches later on, but these are just so I can get an idea of what they look like. So this is shade 4 from E.L.F. This is shade 4.5 from Charlotte Tilbury. And they're very similar. They are. They're very, very similar. I'm going to test shade 5.5 from Charlotte Tilbury and shade 5 from E.L.F. And we're just going to put it on. I'm excited to test this. So I have 2 of the exact same brushes. Okay, these are the Sonia G Jumbo Base brushes, and they're both clean. And I'm going to use each one of them to apply the product. So we're going to go ahead and put Charlotte Tilbury on this side. This is typically how I do it. And then I'm just going to blend that in. See how it just kind of gives a little bit of color to the skin, and it does blend nice with my neck. I'm going to use this brush, and I'm going to go on this side with the one from E.L.F. Wow. I actually feel like I get more coverage with the one from E.L.F. than I do from Charlotte Tilbury. I'm just trying to make sure I got it nice and blended. It blends beautifully. You can see that I got more coverage on the E.L.F. side than I did the Charlotte Tilbury. And that could be because more product comes off of the applicator in the E.L.F. than it does the Charlotte Tilbury. So I'm going to add just a tiny bit more of the Charlotte Tilbury, just to see if maybe that's what the difference is. I'm gonna grab this other brush. Looking at it, I really like the way that the E.L.F. side looks. And I almost like it maybe a little bit more than the Charlotte Tilbury side. It looks really beautiful, especially along the hairline. Like it blended into the hairline just smooth and flawlessly, and I like the coverage that it gave me. I wasn't expecting this coverage because you can see I have good coverage right here, and I don't have it on this side. I'm gonna grab 2 concealers here. This is the Dominique Cosmetics concealer. I've been loving this concealer. So I'm gonna use the shade Chai Latte. I'm just gonna kind of put a little bit of it in the same spots, I guess. I really don't need a lot on that side. I feel like the Charlotte Tilbury side needs a little bit more help when it comes to coverage. But my gosh, like that E.L.F. side doesn't hardly need anything except for in the center of the face. But over here, it looks flawless. If you can hear my dog snoring, I apologize. I have a Shih Tzu and she is loud. Okay, and then I'm gonna take the shade Cappuccino, and I'm gonna put it here on the center of the face. But you'll notice as soon as I put some concealer on, it kind of calms down some of that shine from the shimmery pearlescent effect that the Hollywood Flawless filter or this new product from E.L.F. gives the skin. But I don't want to completely take it away from all over the skin, just in the center of the face, which is where concealer really comes into play and really helps to kind of calm that down. I'm blown away with the way this looks. I love the way that that immediately covered, but looks like skin. It's incredible. It looks so pretty. I can't even, my mind is blown. It looks so much better than the Charlotte Tilbury side, which is freaking me out right now because Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless filter is one of my favorite products of all time. There's a lot of products out on the market that are kind of similar to the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless filter, but I've never felt like any of them have looked better. And this definitely looks better. I do have the one from Auric. This is the Glow Lust. My biggest issue with the Auric is the shade. I could never get the right shade. I do have a darker shade in this, but the undertones were really off. And so it just prevented me from using it, but I will swatch this one and the other one that I have from Auric up against these two shades from E.L.F. so you guys can see the tones. So I'm going to do the rest of my makeup. When I get done, I'll come back and we'll do kind of a overall how it looks. So I'll be right back. I'm pretty much done with my makeup, but I did want to go ahead and see what it would look like to take the lighter shade and use it as highlighter. Okay, so let's do some quick close-ups. I didn't apply any setting powder. I just put some finishing powder right here in the center of the face. But this is the Charlotte Tilbury side. And then this is the E.L.F. side. Based on just looking at it in the mirror and the monitor, I feel like the E.L.F. side looks better to me. It still looks just a little bit more polished. I don't know, but it looks really, really, really pretty. I wanted to go ahead and use the lighter shade for highlighter, just to see how it melt over top of the skin. So I'm gonna use 4.5 medium from Charlotte Tilbury. And then I'm gonna use shade 4 from E.L.F. Now this looks much darker in the bottle than the Charlotte Tilbury does, as you can see, but it's pretty much the same shade. I'm not sure why this looks so much darker, but it does look darker. When applying a product like this, I don't like to go directly on the skin when it comes to a liquid highlighter. I like to kind of put it here on the back of my hand like this, tap into it and then tap it on. That's kind of my preferred way to apply stuff like this. So I'm just gonna put my finger down into there, and this is the Charlotte Tilbury 4.5. And I'm also gonna bring it up here on the brow bone as well, just kind of blending that in. And then also bring it like up and around here. Okay, now let's take shade 4, put a little bit here on the back of the hand, blend it in, and then tap it on. That looks pretty. Really natural. This is the finished look. I'm gonna wear this for the next few hours, and I will come back later on this evening and we're gonna kind of go over how they both wore, how they compare. But right now, I really like the E.L.F. side, and it's kind of blowing my mind right now. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and jump into the swatches. I'm gonna swatch all of the products that I have that are similar to this, to the two shades that I have from E.L.F. And then when I come back, we will get into my final thoughts. So I will see you guys then. Okay, everyone, I am back. I do hope that those swatches and comparisons were helpful. So right now it is almost 9 o'clock. So I've had this on for, I would say, at least 8-9 hours. And my makeup looks pretty good. I think I've lost a little bit of the coverage like right around my forehead. And that's just from constantly going like this and pulling the hair out of my face. And so I'm touching my forehead and stuff. And because I didn't set it with powder, it's gonna kind of move around. So I have lost some of it up there, but this is the Charlotte Tilbury side. And I mean, I feel like the Charlotte Tilbury one looks the same. It's just a little shinier than it was earlier today. But I feel like I haven't really lost any of the coverage around here. I feel like I have the same amount of coverage as I did earlier. But this is the E.L.F. side, and I feel like this side is not as shiny. It's not as shiny as this side. Like, this side feels pretty shiny to me versus this side, but I still have maintained the coverage from this. Still, all these hours later, I feel like the e.L.F. side looks better than the Charlotte Tilbury side. So there's something to be said about this product. I might go as far as to say I like this formula more than the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Falls filter for a few reasons, but especially if you're gonna wear it the way I did today. I actually like the way that this one looks and feels and wears more than the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Falls filter. Number one, this gives better coverage. You saw right away, I got really nice coverage for a product like this. I wasn't expecting it to have coverage, and it did. It had pretty decent coverage. I would say a light medium situation, but number two, it's creamier. So I felt like as I was spreading it around, it's much creamier of a formula than the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Falls filter. And I think it looks prettier on the skin. It looks prettier, especially on like like right now I don't have any breakouts or texture. I need to knock on wood somewhere because my skin is really in a good space right now as far as that goes. So I can't speak to how it looks over texture, but I can say I like the way that this e.L.F. formula looks over like the orange pills. You know how we get that orange pill kind of look around here as you get older, like the pores are getting a little bit bigger, a little bit more noticeable. This is much prettier over that area and not as emphasizing as the Hollywood Falls filter is from Charlotte Tilbury. So I'm going to go as far as to say I like this formula more than the Hollywood Falls filter, which blows my flippin' marbles, blows my mind. I've tested a lot of products like the Hollywood Falls filter, and none of them have, in my opinion, came close to looking and working as good or if not better than the Hollywood Falls filter. And I feel like e.L.F. not only did that, but they nailed it. Like, this is a fantastic formula. I feel like this is going to be a very easy formula to put foundation over top of. I feel like it might even be better because when I put concealer over top of it, it spread evenly and easily without any issues. So I think no matter how you wear the Hollywood Falls filter from Charlotte Tilbury, you're going to be able to do that with e.L.F. And I felt like when I put it over top of the skin, they both melted into the skin beautifully. I just feel like the way that I wear the Hollywood Falls filter, the e.L.F. formula performed better. It's a little thicker and it is just beautiful over texture, wrinkles, pores, all of that. The other thing that I want to mention is this. So this is the Glow Lust from Auric. I mentioned in the application that I had these. I like the formula on this, but the shades are really hard for me to use. So this is the shade Citrine. If you notice in the swatches, it has a really strong like gold undertone. It's almost too strong, like it's not natural looking. Same goes for the Pyrite. So it's almost like I'm in between. And so I almost need to mix these, but then if I mix them and I'm not careful, it doesn't look right. Like, I really liked the formula of this, but the shades were just terrible for me, and I just never used it because it never looked natural. Here's the thing though, the Auric definitely has more coverage. So, I mean, you can see it overall with one swatch, it had way more coverage than the one from e.L.F. and the one from Charlotte Tilbury. But what I will say about the overall texture of these is that they're both very creamy. So if you have the Auric and you understand what I'm talking about when it comes to the creaminess and the way it compares to the Hollywood Falls filter from Charlotte Tilbury, that's kind of how this e.L.F. is. The e.L.F. is quite creamy and it's almost applies like a foundation does, versus the Hollywood Falls filter kind of has that thinness to it where it spreads and it's kind of see-through as you're applying it. The e.L.F. has a little bit more of that creaminess to it, so it's got a little bit more pigment, and I think that's why you get better coverage with it, just because it's overall a creamier formula. I also feel like the one from e.L.F. is more hydrating than the one from Charlotte Tilbury, but the thing that I like the most, besides the fact that I think it has more coverage and it looks better, is that it's not quite as pearlescent. It has that soft glow to it, where it gives that glow and that shine, but it's not too much. It's not overdone. It's the right amount of shimmer, pearlescent, overall glow. They nailed this. If you like the Hollywood Falls filter, you will love this from e.l.f. You will love it. It's just a fantastic formula, and it's $14. I know that a lot of people get upset when these more affordable brands kind of copy the luxury brands. I understand it, and I see both sides. Okay, so coming from a makeup reviewer where I like to keep it about the makeup, I do see both sides. I like that brands like this offer a more budget-friendly product that's just as good as the high-end brand. And understand the side of it that they're saying, you know, they just completely ripped Charlotte Tilbury off, like all of her hard work, but I don't think Charlotte Tilbury is going to suffer from this. That's the other side of it. So Charlotte Tilbury will not be affected by this because she is such a well-known brand that it's not going to affect her. It's not going to, right? At the end of the day. So there's plenty of room for every brand. I mean, how many brands, you got to look at it like this too. How many basic eyeshadow palettes do we have that all look similar? Like at the end of the day, all of our makeup is similar. They just work different in little certain ways, right? How many finishing powders do I have? How many blushes do I have? Like all of those things, it all kind of boils down to makeup is repetitive. No matter what you're in, no matter if it's affordable versus luxury or vice versa, it just doesn't matter at the end of the day. So I see this as a positive thing that e.l.f. was able to not only launch something so good that is such a good competitor for the Hollywood Falls filter, in my opinion, better, but at such an affordable price. This is $14 versus $44. And let me just say this. Okay, you guys know I love Charlotte Tilbury, right? So let's just wipe all of that off the table. If I did not know what this brand was or what this brand was, okay? I didn't know what they were. I didn't know how much they cost. I was just using it blind, okay? Which product would I reach for the next day? It would be the e.l.f. all day, every day. I love the way that this looks. I love the way that it felt. I love the way that it applied. I love the way it wore. I feel overall, even today, looking in the mirror, I feel like the e.l.f. side still looks better. It just does. It looks better. So I don't know. Hats off to e.l.f. for doing it because they nailed it. Like that formula is phenomenal. I will keep you guys posted on when it comes back into stock. And definitely share the link in my community center and also on my Instagram page. I know that I think they have like 2 or 3 shades still in stock, but the rest are out. And I don't know when it's going to come to Ulta, but I'll definitely keep my eye out. But overall, this is a 5 out of a 5 out of a 5 out of a 5. Like hats off to e.l.f. for doing it because they did a fantastic job. Those are my overall thoughts. Sound off down below. How many of you guys have got this new product from e.l.f. and are you feeling the same way I am about it? Are you loving it like I am? Like, is it replaced your Hollywood Falls filter? Because I think for me, it's replaced my Hollywood Falls filter. Might I say, I mean, I might go as far as to say it has completely replaced the Hollywood Falls filter. Kind of crazy. Shout out down below. Let us know your thoughts. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me in today's video. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys all in my next video. Love you. Bye.